Hi, my name is Lisa, and today I'm going to be walking you through how to paint this cute robin using watercolors. For a full list of everything you need to get started, be sure to check out the video description below. Also, be sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to see other videos just like this one, and give this video a like if you enjoyed painting along with me. Let's get started. So first things first, we're going to draw an outline for the bird. The robin is quite round, so you can start with just doing sort of a loose round shape just to get an idea of how big you want it to be on the page. So sometimes I'll do just a basic circle to say, okay, this is how size and proportion I want it to take up on the page. So I have just a very light colored circle. And then I know that it's not actually a circle. So on a robin there, they have their little head that pops up a little bit. So we'll draw the circle. And then starting on the left-hand side, I'm going to just make the shape of the head. And so this robin is looking up a little bit. So we're going to come back down, have a little bit of a ridge here where the top of the wing goes. And then another smaller, more shallow bend where the back of the wing goes. And if you're not great at drawing, it's okay. You don't have to have quite even this much detail. But just kind of insinuating where the wing is going to go is what you want. Then we're going to come back around and have the stomach here. And then we're going to have to put a little beak in. So they have a little triangle beak, quite small, that comes back in. And then right about one eye length behind the end of the beak, we're going to have the eye. So the eye is a bit of a roundish oval, let's say we'll call it. And then we'll make sure we leave a little circle here, and that's where the little circle of white is that we're going to leave. And then I want to just kind of loosely draw in where I'm going to have the orange begin and end. And you want to do this very lightly, because we don't want that line to show through a lot when we're done. So I'm just kind of loosely panning out where the orange is going to go, but it's very loose. Then we're going to draw the little legs. So we just want little sticks coming off. And then we'll have 1, 2, it's a very loose painting, so we don't have to worry about the feet being perfect. We're just going to have 3 little toes here, and then maybe 1 back here, and 1 back here. I think that looks pretty good. All right, so now we can go ahead and start with the paint. So for this little guy, I'm gonna be using a mix of the yellow ochre, the raw umber, and some bright orange, as well as a bit of a bright yellow and some Paynes Gray for some of the shadows, the eye, and the feet. So with all my paintings, I start with the lightest colors first. So I'm gonna start by filling in the whole belly area, including where it's orange, with clear water. Now, you wanna make sure that your clear water layer isn't bubbling up on the page, but you also don't want it to be so thin that the paint can't bleed around it. So we're gonna start by just filling it all in loosely. Don't get too particular about it. Clear water. Then I'm going to take a bit of my orange. Now I have an orange gouache here. And if you've ever wondered what the difference is between gouache and watercolor, is gouache is quite opaque and watercolor is more transparent. So if you take gouache, you'll notice when I put it down, it's quite vivid. Now you don't want that so much with this painting. I really want it to have a watercolor look, but the easiest way to achieve that is just by adding more water to it. So I don't like to have a bunch of different gouache and paints, so because I had bought some orange gouache a while back by accident, I didn't buy more, I use it. I just add lots of water. So if it dries as you're working, just keeping the page wet is important. And that way you never have any harsh lines. And so I want to have that a little more orange here. Like I said, the orange I have is quite strong, so if you have actual watercolor orange, you won't find it's that strong, as mine is. I noticed on the robin, the orange of the robin actually goes above here, so I'm going to re-wet this. And when you re-wet it, you can kind of just dab at it and it'll flow the paint, sorry, to where you want it to go. So now I'm going to have a little bit of yellow back here because the robin's not perfectly white, so we're just going to add a little bit of yellow here. You don't want too much because it is a fairly white bird. And then we're going to, just for fun, I think I'm going to add a little bit of teal in the belly. Now I don't want any strong lines, so I'm just going to kind of flick the brush around. Like that. Now next up, I want to do the head and the wing here. So I'm going to carry this through, and if it's still wet, that's okay. And we're going to be careful. I don't want to blend too much into that orange and pull from it, so I'm going to actually leave a little thin white line between where the wing is going to go and then where the body and the yellow is. And I'm going to take a little bit of that brown. We're going to start doing the brown now. And because it's all wet still, it's going to blend really nicely with the orange here. I'm going to throw in a little bit of yellow here with the brown. And this is just the first coat. On the second coat, we can add a bit more detail. So on this one, you're just trying to get a bit of brown filled in here. And if you, at any point you touch into the orange, it's going to bleed, and that's okay if that happens a little bit. That's part of that loose watercolor. So now while that dries, I want to come back to the front. We're always kind of bouncing around on the paintings. So once this is laid down, I want you to come back to the front and just dab a little more water on it if it's fully dry. And then we're going to add just a little bit of texture. And it should be wet now. So some of those feathers you'll still be able to see, and some are going to bleed right in. So I'm just kind of doing little feather strokes, and they are going to sort of bleed together, but some you'll still be able to see. And then what we're going to do is come back to the wing, and I'm actually going to do the back part. So for this, I'll come around, and I'm adding kind of a block of brown here, and then another line, and another line. You can pause it just to follow along and catch up. I'm going to take a bit of Paynes Gray and come in right along the bottom here. So if you only have black, not Paynes Gray, that's okay. I'm kind of playing around with it while it's still wet, because while it's wet is when you're going to get that bleeding to happen that we want. So now I want you to take, well, this is all drying. I want you to take your small brush, and we're going to do some of the beak here. So I'm going to take the, instead of doing wet and wet, we're just going to go straight onto the page. and just draw that beak in, just with a nice light gray color. And leaving little bits white is good. And then the top of the beak is actually a little darker, so I'm going to come back in with a little bit darker color and add that to the top. And then we're going to do the legs now. So we might as well take care of the legs while it's still drying. So for the legs too, we're just going to use a Paynes Gray or a black if that's what you have, and just draw the legs straight on. There's no need to do the wet first, the water first. Now, I want to have a little more looseness to this painting. I feel like he could be just a little bit looser than this. So what I'm going to do is actually use some clear water, and just butting up to it, I'm going to take a little bit of clear water and then butt up to the bird here and loosen up some of these lines. And the way I do that is I take clear water and I just sort of massage it out a little bit. And then a little orange, and allow it to kind of bleed out of the painting. Not wanting to move right now, so sometimes I help it along. And so I use the clear water to kind of tell that where to go. And I might do that a little bit back here. And then a little bit, one more place just down here. I just use clear water and then I go right up to it. And then the paint will bleed out. Can't help myself, I'll do one more spot. Just about these legs. And then what I'm going to do is do a few splatters. So I'm going to take, while everything's still kind of wet, I'm going to take some orange and I'm going to add some splatters over top. And some of them are going to go up here. And see the way the ones that fall on the clear water are blending in? I like that look, so that's what we want. I'm going to do a few brown ones over here. And then my favorite part, I'm going to use the teal on the belly because the belly's still wet. And I'm going to throw some up here too. So now what we want to do, because this is all needs to dry, we're going to let this dry, and then I'm going to add some of the finer little details once it's completely dried to the touch. So let's let that go. So now that he's had a chance to fully dry, we're going to go in and add some more detail. So I'm going to do the eye, and the eye I'm going to do with black paint. So just fill it in completely. And make sure you leave that little white spot white. Just a little eye sparkle. If for whatever reason you slip up and you fill in the eye sparkle, that's okay. You can go back and add a little white dot with some acrylic paint after. I'm just gonna go around and add a little detail with whatever color. So for the orange, I'm gonna add a few, take a fine orange paintbrush, well, orange brush with orange paint, and just add a few little feathers here and there. Few there, and then I'm going to take some teal and add some more feathers. And there's no rhyme or reason, I'm just kind of making my way around and doing a few different ones. Then I want to do the brown. I'm gonna go back to using my angled brush. And you can use your fine brush too, but I find I just have a bit more control with this one. You'll find as you get more comfortable with brushes what you like best. And so I'm just kind of following the pattern of the bird's feathers. And there's no, it isn't perfect. The goal isn't to have each little detail be perfect. What you're actually wanting is just to insinuate where there is feathers, not to have every line be the same as your reference photo. So if you have a photo of a little robin in front of you, try to resist the urge to make it too much like the photo. And I'm going to use this Paynes Gray to actually just add a few little loose feathers here and there, give him a little more structure. Just here and there, a few. And so that's it. That's all you want to see. This is a really simple little robin. As you get more advanced, you can add even more detail. You can add more layers. But the key is just to have fun with it, practice lots, and remember with watercolors, it's a pretty quick medium. So if you don't like your first go at it, start again. It's a lot of fun just to keep trying and see how the watercolor moves, how it reacts. Make sure to sign your paintings. All right, that's it. So thank you so much for watching. If you want to see other videos just like this one, be sure to hit subscribe, and please hit the like button below if you enjoyed painting along with me. Have a great day.